Welcome to the Now. I'm Ashley.
I'm Mica. Well, is Neutrality dead yet?
Well, it's on life support.
Oh.
Yeah. Some popular YouTubers and gamers, along with a lot of big websites, are organizing a last-ditch effort to try and hang on to net neutrality provisions, though. So
good. That's good.
There's that.
The massive online protest called #OneMoreVote is scheduled to take place Tuesday, February 27th.
That's tomorrow.
Oh.
Unless you're watching this tomorrow, and then it's today.
Then it's right now. Unless you're watching that after that, then you missed it.
It was yesterday.
And it will involve various websites and influencers putting up banners calling attention to the situation and urging Congress in the U.S. to repeal a recent FCC ruling that got rid of net neutrality protections.
Sites like Reddit, along with organizations like YouTuber Hank Green's Internet Creators Guild, will also help raise awareness, as well as a lot of major sites like Tumblr, Patreon, Etsy, Funny or Die, many, many more.
The protest was organized by the advocacy group Fight for the Future, which has done pro-net neutrality actions in the past. You might remember the internet-wide Day of Action last July that was organized to lobby the FCC to keep net neutrality in place.
Well, this latest one is targeted at Congress, which can block the FCC repeal using the Congressional Review Act with just a majority vote in the Senate and the House.
The group says it's already got 50 votes committed in the Senate, which means they just need one more.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad.
As for the House, there are already more than 100 co-sponsors to a similar resolution.
A popular YouTuber, Chad Tronic, posted a screenshot of his $100 donation to the group and tweeted to FCC Chairman Ajappai, "Hey Ajappai, suck my nuts."
Ah, modern political discourse, I love it.
And in the gaming world, net neutrality has a ton of supporters as well. Jim Sterling's been an outspoken critic of Pi, saying in a video after the net neutrality repeal that Pi is a smug snake of a troll.
Most people hate that man. Jim Sterling spoke about his support for the protests as well, saying, "We are all on the internet," and giving companies like Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T 100% control over what we see and do on the internet is a bad fucking news for everybody.
Now, this all comes after last year's FCC vote to repeal net neutrality, and that was expected, but still a body blow to open internet advocates.
That vote meant that the agency was rolling back so-called neutrality regulations that stop ISPs from blocking websites or charging extra for certain content. Those regulations were set up in 2015 by lumping internet providers into the Telecommunications Act of 1934, which gave the FCC the same power to regulate them as they do with phone providers.
Yeah, the idea was to prevent something called an internet fast lane, where people or businesses pay more for faster access to specific websites or to get their content out to users faster than other companies could get their content out to users. Plus, it aims to prevent providers from throttling services that take up a lot of bandwidth, like Netflix, which uses a huge percentage of bandwidth, or holding that access for ransom. The argument there being that if users are paying for a specific access speed, they should get that speed regardless of what the content being accessed is.
FCC chairman and former Verizon employee Ajit Pai argued that repealing those classifications and ditching net neutrality would help customers and give them a wider variety of service options.
Yeah, well, a number of ISPs unsurprisingly weighed in on that side and cited how ditching the regulations would enable them to innovate and build their businesses and offer better plans. And then after the vote, a bunch of them immediately laid off a bunch of staff. AT&T alone announced they were cutting 4,600-ish jobs. I mean, at that point, what's a couple 10 people's jobs either way? Verizon at least laid off their employees ahead of the vote.
Wow, innovative. Opponents of the rollback, which include virtually all major tech companies, argue that this leaves the internet in the hands of ISP providers.
The FCC vote was heavily criticized across the internet. Gamers were no different. In a post after the vote, Twitch called it a buff to ISPs and a nerf to consumers because they speak gamer, and said net neutrality's repeal could have a serious impact on our community, especially for our creators who do so much to make Twitch the unique place it is.
Twitch CEO Emmett Shear said, "Net neutrality has played an important role in the history of Twitch. Without it, we might not be here today, and our streamers might not be here tomorrow."
It is a thing that's happening a lot, where you get companies like Twitch that have been enabled to come up and grow and build themselves because they aren't having to pay immediately out of the gate for additional access to users because they use bandwidth. Streaming video like Twitch or YouTube, anything like that, those use a ton of bandwidth.
Yeah.
And if Twitch had to pay extra in order to get that content out to users from the start, they're right, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Other services like Netflix and Twitter are also blasting the FCC's decision, calling it a blow to innovation and free expression.
And while the ISPs have all sworn that they'd never do anything like throttle certain sites and speed up others, there's already a discouraging sign that they really don't mean that.
Yeah, we're hearing some reports that one major telecom is already starting to experiment with internet fast lanes, which could be a sign of things to come.
And surprise, surprise, it's AT&T. Now, here's the part where we need to full disclosure. We are a part of Rooster Teeth, which is owned by Fullscreen, which is now fully owned by Otter Media, which is a joint venture of Chernin and AT&T. So somewhere way up the chain, they kind of own us.
Or at least half own us.
Yeah.
Or half own the people that own the people that own the people that, look, the chain's long. But
Yes.
the point is, they're involved. Fortunately, the nose little fish, they don't seem to give a fig about us, and they probably don't even know what we do. So hey, we're gonna talk about it anyway.
Yeah. The site BGR reports that AT&T is rolling out alleged new features that sound suspiciously like it's favoriting some services over others, and, well, we'll be one of them. Kinda-ish.
Woohoo! What they're doing is offering content companies the option to sponsor their data so that it doesn't count against wireless customers' caps.
Basically meaning that if you pay AT&T a little more money, your site won't count against someone's data plan, meaning they might be more likely to use your stuff because they don't have to worry about going over. And for people with low mobile data caps who like to watch videos on the internet, that can make a big difference.
Right, if you're like, oh, I've only got a little bit left this month, ooh, what can I do with it? Oh, this doesn't count at all, I'll do that.
Exactly.
As BGR noted, as of right now, the only 3 services using AT&T's sponsored data program are DirecTV, Uverse, and Fullscreen. By a huge coincidence, those are 3 video services owned by AT&T.
If you're wondering, that's exactly what net neutrality proponents feared, that ISPs would use their new freedom to promote their own products and services while slowing down or blocking rivals.
Now we're on top! Yeah, by any definition, that's what's happening here. They're using owned media as a base layer, and then we'll charge companies to get in this unmetered program to get better access to AT&T users.
It's not entirely new, though. It's been a practice for a while with a lot of mobile providers. T-Mobile, for example, has its Binge On program that doesn't count a bunch of streaming video services towards its data cap. Verizon was charging $10 per month to unthrottle streaming video last year, which is dirty.
Yeah, this, though, might be taking it up a notch by seeking to turn access to AT&T users into a paid market for businesses.
Yeah, and that's particularly egregious considering that AT&T claimed they supported an open internet during last year's Day of Action protests, even if they really didn't after you read the fine print.
Yeah, or, maybe they support an open internet as long as everyone pays them.
Yeah.
But it does honestly, just all joking aside, sound like an example of an ISP already demonstrating why these net neutrality protections were needed.
We'll see how tomorrow's protests go. Hopefully they'll prompt Congress to take action because, as AT&T has shown, the ISPs are probably not going to use this new freedom to benefit the consumer.
Right, building the business, all that. What do you guys think of the upcoming net neutrality protests? Let us know in the comments.
And for all of your net neutrality news, including which parts of the internet they'll throttle first, yikes, be sure to like this video, and if you're new around here, subscribe to The Know. In the US, to repeal a recent FCC ruling that got rid of net neutrality. That was organized to lobby the FCC to keep There's a lot of syllables. That was organized last July to... The group says that it's already got 50 votes, which committed...